Hi everyone, this is Emma at the Vlog Lady, and today I'm going to be watching part 7 of Twin Peaks. It's called There's a Body All Right.
I think I'm high! Good Lord, Jerry. I don't know where I am!
Warriors come out to play. Sorry, I can't help doing that every time he's on screen.
Annie Blackburn. These pages
She does exist.
Sure from... I just wanted to talk to you about a few...
I'm guessing he has cancer.
That's right. Do you remember that night?
I'll always remember that night.
Shit. That is so uncomfortable. Horrible.
Just run off and risk one more penny.
Oh shit.
No more pennies.
Oh shit.
His hand off! His hand off!
That is weird. Okay, I just finished the episode. I really enjoyed that episode. Let's start with Jerry, the first scene with Jerry. I think it's a 50-50 chance that he was either completely high or actually seeing things. Some of the things that he said were like tying into the overall story. So he said like you say the same thing, which Dougie is doing at the minute to everybody. And he also said someone stole my car. Now I don't know if someone actually stole his car or he's just linking in with the Richard scenario in which that car was stolen. And then he says, I don't know where I am. That scene made me think of a passage in Mark Frost's The Secret History of Twin Peaks. I'll just read that. It's on page 207, and Dr. Jacoby, he wrote a book called The Eye of God, Sacred Psychology in the Aboriginal Mind, and he says that, and this is the quote from that, I was seeing what was not physically in front of me. I also knew that the veil of reality had been rent, split or torn away, and that I was looking into a different or perhaps deeper dimension. And I kind of thought of Jerry being on drugs and his mind opening up to this other dimension. And is that what's happening in that scene? We could dismiss it as a complete drug haze, but it could be a lot more than that. So Hawk and Frank sit down to talk about what they found in the toilet stall, and it is revealed that it is in fact Laura Palmer's diary pages. 3 of the 4 missing diary pages have been found, and it does contain the message from Annie. I was super surprised to hear Annie mentioned. Has Mark Frost just been trolling us with Annie's disappearance in his book? Or is something else going on? I noticed Hawk referred to Annie as a girl and didn't make any reference of her being Norma's sister, which surprised me because I think Frank would probably know Norma since he grew up in Twin Peaks, and he is a bookhouse boy and he knows the town very well. I think that he should have known who Annie was when Hawk mentioned it was Annie Blackburn, but the fact is someone does know Annie. She does exist. She has not fallen into a black hole. The fact that she is mentioned so casually, I guess, by Hawk suggests to me that nothing untoward became of her. She survived, and perhaps she just went under the radar. Perhaps she went back to the nunnery. Who knows at this stage? But I mean, I guess one of the first lines of inquiry they might take in this instance would be to contact Annie if they know who she is, right? So are we going to get an Annie appearance? Are we going to go down that line, or are they just going to go in another direction? I'm excited about this reveal, and the fact that that scene with Annie in Fire Walk With Me finally has meaning and has come into play in the story. We see Frank on the phone to Harry. I thought it was interesting in this episode how many references there are to people being sick, and particularly cancer. I thought Harry, it seems he has cancer. Beverly's husband seems to have had cancer. Gordon Cole made a reference to not smoking anymore, which could be another reference. And of course there is a log lady who seemingly had cancer as well in previous episode. And I wonder if the ratio of people with sicknesses of this kind is higher in Twin Peaks. It was kind of touching to hear Frank being so supportive of Harry. It didn't sound very good, to be honest. It sounded like Harry was maybe getting worse. So that's something that has saddened me. We see Frank talk to Doc Hayward, and I thought that was a great scene. I loved seeing Warren Frost. Doc Hayward seemed to be so at ease with his life. I know some people said that perhaps Donna had been killed in that motorcycle accident that was mentioned when James was on screen, and from this appearance of Doc Hayward, I would say that he has had a pretty charmed life and that he is a very happy, easygoing guy. He doesn't seem to be carrying any kind of weight of grief, so I would say that everything for him had turned out well. I was very concerned about what he said about Audrey. That does not sound good at all. Audrey was left in a coma after the bank explosion, and she also received a visit from Evil Coop whilst she was in intensive care. Now that can only be a bad thing. What the hell was Evil Coop doing to Audrey, making her situation worse? I don't want to say that he was like, you know, planting his evil seed in Audrey or anything like that. It's just horrendous to think about what he could have been doing to Audrey. Going on from that, the Diane stuff, I can only assume that Diane, the last time she saw Coop, was the evil Coop, and that he came to her home and sexually assaulted her. That's the only thing that I was thinking during this entire episode, and the way she reacted to him, her defensiveness, her anger, her fear, her bitterness, the way she responded to seeing Coop, her approach to him in the jail, linked back to when Laura was confronting Bob in that rape scene in her bed, and she asked Bob who he was, who he really was, and that reminded me of that a lot. It wasn't an easy episode to watch because of these things. I've really felt for Diane when she was crying in Gordon Cole's arms. She is a character I think I am really going to like seeing in the rest of the series. She's not what I expected at all, but I think a lot of her behaviours may have stemmed from whatever happened to her with Evil Coop. Okay, I don't know where to go next in this episode because so much happened. Let's go back to Andy. Did Andy do the right thing by letting that guy talk him into meeting him later? Because I think that after Andy went away, Richard Horn was in that shack and he killed this guy and probably made it look like a suicide or something, framed him for the accident with the kid, and I can't imagine where Richard Horn, where his character is going to go next. What more is he going to do? I genuinely think he must have killed this guy. Oh. Let's go to the Major Briggs thing. Apologies if I keep drinking, it is so hot today. But Major Briggs, it was confirmed that the body is Major Briggs. Can you imagine anything more gruesome? I mean, can you believe that they have actually brought Major Briggs back in this way? And you know, a decapitated corpse. Now, they say that Major Briggs, the body, is a man in his 40s. So that means that this Major Briggs was the Major Briggs we last saw. And there can only be one explanation to that, I think, and that is that Major Briggs travelled through time somehow, or travelled through some kind of portal, and he ended up in a different time period to where he had been. This was suspected, sorry my chair is squeaking. This was suspected because he, in a previous scene, had turned up after his disappearance wearing 1930s style pilot gear, and a lot of people think that he had been time traveling. There are so many possibilities about where this story is going. What the hell is with that guy who looks like he's been burned walking through that morgue area? as Major Briggs's body is being examined, is he an actual person, or is he a spirit, or is he representative of some kind of force? So I really like how Tammy is being initiated into this group of agents, and the way she's learning that, you know, she seems befuddled sometimes by the things that Gordon is asking her to do and to examine, but it reminded me a lot of how Sam Stanley was a little bit confused when he was being initiated into the same group. The conversation between Evil Coop and the Warden was very interesting, still confusing. The stuff with the dog made me feel a bit sick. I think anything where dogs are involved, I'm kind of repulsed if they are in danger. So to hear Evil Coop talking about the other 3 dog legs, oh god. I think it was inevitable that Evil Coop was going to manipulate his way out of prison, and now he is back out there. Even though Evil Coop is no longer in the prison, I think there is a positive aspect to the story in that everything is starting to converge about the story and finding out that there is a good Coop and an evil Coop. And Hawk was the first to realize this, and he said it to Frank. And then of course we had the key arriving at the Great Northern. What is going on at the Great Northern with that humming sound? It is so weird. The camera zoomed in on the wooden walls in the last few seconds of that scene, and I just thought of Josie. Actually, I thought, is Josie and A Million Trapped Souls singing Hallelujah, or is the Great Northern situated in a spot of significant interest, such as the White Lodge? Incidentally, related to that scene, Beverly seemed like a completely different person when she was with Ben to the person she was when she arrived home and had to deal with her husband. Clearly she's under a lot of stress in that marriage and has been a carer for her husband for some time. I did wonder if that scene was being shown to us because of the fact that Beverly and Ben have a lot in common, and could this be another thing they have in common? Could Ben be a carer for both Johnny and Audrey now? I don't like to think about that, but it did come to mind when I was watching this scene with Beverly. That scene at the Roadhouse was kind of like actually being at work, watching the guy sweep the floor. Interesting conversation from Jean-Michel or Jean-Michael Renault. Nothing much seems to have changed there. Interesting that we didn't get a band playing this time, and actually we just saw the devastation in the bar at the end of the night. The cleanup, it kind of was a good way to end this episode, I think, after all the stuff with Diane and all the references that we got to Laura and Audrey as well. I just think to have ended that episode with a performance at the Roadhouse would have been wrong, I think, because the tone would have been off. But we did still end with a song, and that was Sleepwalk, I think it's called, by Santo and Johnny. Made me instantly think of the movie Sleepwalkers, which is one of my favourite horror movies, starring Machen Amick, who was in the scene when the music was playing, so it was kind of odd. I don't think that it was a homage to that movie or a link to that movie in any way, but I thought it was interesting, and that's always what I think of when I hear that music now. Who is sleepwalking? Is it Dougie? Is it the town of Twin Peaks? Is everybody sleepwalking and not seeing what's out there? The troubles that young people are experiencing. It's a very, very eerie song, and it wrapped up that very, or I should say, very creepy episode. Very dark episode as well, I think. One more thing to mention is Cooper being attacked by, is he called Ike the Spike? The little guy. I loved the fact that Cooper came back to life in that scene. His physical response was so much like old Cooper would have been. I like the fact that we're getting more and more responses like this. Love that Janie also got involved in that, and that she was fighting him off too. I could not hear what the tree was saying. Was the tree saying something like, "This is enough"? Or it sounded like knock his head off a bit. I'm not sure what the tree was saying. I should say the arm, because I think the tree what I'm calling the tree is officially called the evolution of the arm. I did get a fright. I think that Cooper is going to be able to defend himself though, especially when he has support like Janie. I mean, she can kick ass. I think I'm gonna start like walking and talking like Janie in real life because she just gets things done, right? I'm sure I'm forgetting something because this episode was so jam-packed full of stuff. I may return later in the week and do a theory video. I think there is lots to discuss about this episode, but that's my initial reaction to it. Feeling kind of like hazy right now, as if it's done a number on my head a little bit to see all that, to experience all that, to get so much of the story thrown at us. Thank you for watching today. If you would like to leave a comment about what you thought of the episode below, please do, and you can also contact me on Twitter, and I'm also on Facebook at The Vlog Lady. And that's all. Bye!